Hi, my name's Tony from VSB Moto, and today Pete's asked me to do a quick review on my most recent build. This is a 5-year build that we started. The backstory on this one is a fellow in Boston started it 5 years prior, and unfortunately he kind of lost interest in it. But the great part of it was he collected a lot of great period piece parts. My vision on this build was basically melding an 82 ELR version with the famed 82 S1 race bike that they produced 30 of. And I wanted to come up with a replica version for the street, and that's why it's a bit of a mix of both, again with the 82 ELR colors. So what we have here, based on a GPZ1100, we started, the engine's a brand new build. It's a stock build. We basically slot the cams, degree them, slot the cam gears, degree them, and we back cut the transmission gears. One bore up, heads done, but it just runs absolutely gorgeous. This one here, we dynoed it at a solid 100 horse at the rear wheel, 66 foot-pounds of torque. And basically what we've done here, the front end is an actual 82 Eddie Lawson replica front end. It's got brand new tubes, gold race valves, Accelerated Technologies does all our build work for our suspension. And on the rear, we ended up finding period piece Works piggyback racer shocks. They were used by Muzzy, Lawson's tuner, back in the day. Very hard to come by. They've been fully restored, powder coated and painted, and they really add to the look of the bike. We ended up on this project, we've gone with 18-inch wheels. The wheels are period piece. They're 40 years old. They're EPM wheels made by Magni out of Italy. 6 spokes. I know a lot of people used either the 3-spoke Dymags or the Morris Lester 7 spokes, but to be honest with you, I personally like the 6 spokes. They're heavier and they look a little more balanced, as you can see. The brakes, basically double piston calipers. They're basically they're a like version of the original Lockheeds. They're light and they work fantastic, front and rear. We've converted it to a floating rear caliper bracket, underhung rear caliper. The discs are all stainless steel. The carriers are aluminum. They're all custom made out of Japan. And you can see the titanium bolts with lock wires to fit the part of our vision for the street. On top of that, we've gone with a nice oil cooler. The lines are nicely tucked around the back. We have a custom CNC machined manifold that takes off the back, but it also includes a pressure switch. We've gone with 33 smoothbore Makunis. They're fully restored and fully tuned, and they just, the bike works amazing with them. In regards to steering, we've added out of Japan, NHK steering damper, and you can see the billet kit that adapts it to this frame. It's just really a nice clean look. The paint scheme, again, as mentioned, it's an 82 ELR paint scheme. We were able to come up with a side cover, brand new OEM in the box, and we were able to scan the color to get the paint code. And this bike here, if you don't have the right paint code, if you're building a replica, they can look horrid. So people know if the color's on or not, and we are so pleased with the way this paint came out on us. The seat is also an S1 Replica seat. It's out of Japan. With this build here, we had to make a few compromises. We lose the Speedo drive. So for the street, we end up going with a GPS Speedo. They work absolutely fantastic. The gauges are all off of a J model, which is the same gauges that were used on the 82 ELR. All the controls are all brand new. We've added a breather vent in the front of the tank, but it's not operating, it's for show, but it fits the look of the build. All the wiring, we do a custom harness on this. I'll pop the seat off. What we like to do is we like to get rid of the old wiring and all the relays, and we just clean it right up. We like to use the Row Electronics PDM60 modules. It's basically a digital block, which is a digital fuse block. It's 6 circuits. If there's a short, the circuit trips out. You just power it down and it resets. It just gives it a much cleaner, easier wiring harness. We put a voltmeter in. There's a relay there for our clutch interlock, our LED flasher, and we've got a full-size YUSA battery underneath there. In the tail compartment, which usually is a toolbox or tool kit, that's where we install our Dyna 2000 ignition systems. It's got the channels for the 4-cylinder 2-valve Kawasaki set at number 4, and the built-in rev limiter. They work fantastic. We just set it at 10. Under the tank, we have billet floating coil brackets to absorb vibration. We've got Dyna coils, Dyna wires. It's just the details that we try to incorporate. We just try to improve a lot of the stuff, but remember 40 years ago, it was the best it was, but things have improved so much after 40 years. The bike is absolutely a blast to ride. The position with the Replica S1 rear sets and shifter, they're also custom made out of Japan. They raise the rider's feet, and this bike, incredible with the nylon AM26 Road Rider Avon tires. It handles like, I can't tell you how well it handles. And with the riding stance, it loves dicing through the corners. This was a fun project to do. It took us, again, about 5 years, and a lot of that had to do with trying to source parts. These bikes were plentiful 15, 20 years ago. They're very hard to come by now, even good donor bikes and the parts to build these bikes. So trying to build one from scratch, if you're gonna do one, I'll warn you right now, it is gonna be a huge challenge to acquire all of the required components. But we had an absolute blast building this bike, and I'm glad we did her, but this one's going to a new home, and the new owner is going to just absolutely love riding this bike. And I'm sorry to see it go, but we have another 7 builds on the go, and we'd appreciate it's a hobby site. If you could check out VSBmoto.com, and VSB is basically our short version for vintagesuperbikes.com, which will also get you to our site. Again, it's a hobby site. We try to post our builds. Our genre of building bikes is in the late 70s, early 80s. I was inspired as a younger kid watching the AMA Superbike racing out of California, and that's what inspired me. And my favorite builds are AMA-based replica bikes for the street that we don't really want to change the looks of the bikes by too much, but we want to increase brakes, suspension, and we love performance. I hope you've enjoyed the tour. Thank you very much.